Hi guys, so today I'm going to unbox, do a quick review, and disassemble this Rosewill mechanical keyboard. Okay, when you open it up, there's already one page of technical specifications. Okay. For accessories, all you get is two cables. These look like the detachable USB cables for the keyboard. Okay, it looks like both of these cables have a mini USB plug right here, which goes straight into the keyboard. One of them is a PS2 connector that goes into your computer, and the other cable has a USB end that also goes into your computer. Whenever you can, I suggest that you use this PS2 cable so that you can press more keys simultaneously, whereas the USB, sometimes there's limitations to that. It looks like these cables are braided, which is a nice touch to it, but then it does feel a little stiff. I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. These connectors are advertised as gold plated. Okay, so let's get onto the keyboard. So this is not your typical keyboard. This is a mechanical keyboard. I'm not going to go too in depth of what a mechanical keyboard is because you can find tons of information about that on Google. But basically, mechanical keyboard has every key, it has a switch mechanism, as opposed to a regular membrane keyboard where it has one large rubber sheet, and every time you press on one of those keys, it hits the sheet. So with these, every switch has its own mechanism. Okay, so the main advantage is that typically you get a much higher quality. Mechanical keyboards last a lot longer. They can be more responsive, but the main selling point for me is that, you know, it just feels really good to type on. You're not going to get this mushy feeling as you would with normal keyboards. Okay, so basic info about this keyboard is that it's a full-size keyboard with 104 keys. That means it includes this number pad right here. These keyboards are only sold in the US, so that means it has a QWERTY ANSI layout. Okay. This model here has Cherry MX blue switches. I know Rosewill has 3 other models that come in MX reds, browns, and blacks. I'm not going to go too in depth about each of the switch, but for the blue switch, basically how it works is when you press the key down about halfway, you're going to feel and hear a little click, and that's when you know the key registers. Okay. You can also see that this keyboard has no media keys. There's also no backlit LEDs, so it's just basically a plain keyboard. Okay. The keycaps, these are made from ABS with lasered printing. You know, that's pretty typical for stock keycaps. You can get better ones, but then those can be a little expensive. For stabilizers, they use CoStar stabilizers, and I'll show you right now. The stabilizers are on all the big keys, like the spacebar, enter, backspace, and the 2 shifts. See, this little bar here is the stabilizer, and this metal bar tells you that it has CoStar stabilizers as opposed to Cherry stabilizers. The difference is that with CoStar stabilizers, they feel a little more crisp, but at the same time they do make a little more noise. Okay. So when you flip it around, you can see it has 4 rubber feet here and here. These keep it from sliding around on your table. You can also pop out 2 additional feet to raise up the keyboard. I know with the old models of Rosewill keyboards, they also put rubber grips right here on the feet, but I guess in this new revision they did not do that, which is kind of a bummer, but I don't think that's too much of a problem. Here's the mini USB plug for the detachable cable. You know, overall it has a good construction. It's very solid and it's pretty heavy. Okay, let's get a close-up. Okay, here's the switch I was talking about. So every single key has this switch right here. And that's why this keyboard is a little more expensive than regular membrane keyboards, because every single keycap needs a little switch mechanism. Okay. So if you didn't already know, Rosewill is Newegg's own in-house brand. They have a huge line of products, but none of the stuff they actually make. So instead, Newegg has OEMs that makes it for them, and Newegg just basically slaps their own Rosewill label on it. For this specific keyboard, I know in the past, CoStar makes this keyboard, and CoStar is the same OEM for Philcos. So basically, you're getting a Philco quality for only about $90. However, recently there's been rumors that these new keyboard revisions are no longer made by CoStar, and I'm gonna open up to find out if that's true or not. Okay, so let's open it up right now. Okay, so to disassemble it, there will be 8 tabs that you're gonna have to take off. I'm just gonna go over them real quick. The 4 on top, there will be one in between the escape and the F1, one to the right of the F6 a little bit right here, one at the F12 right here, and one between the caps lock and the numpad LED, so right about here. And it'll be symmetrical with the bottom one. So there'll be one at the Windows key, about at the right of the N, the control, and the last one would be just to the left of this delete and the period. Okay, so what you're gonna want to do is flip it over, and there'll be 3 screws you're gonna have to take off. First, you're gonna have to take off this little sticker here. I already did that. So taking these 3 screws off. Okay, now you want to get something to pop off the tabs with the case. Okay, now the bottom. Okay, it's off. Now flip it around, and the top cover comes right off. Okay, there you go. Okay, you can see this plate here. There's another difference between this one and the Philco. This one has a red plate. Philco would have a black one. What this metal plate does is it makes it so the PCB doesn't flex, and it just adds more weight to the keyboard and just makes it a lot more solid. The controller is right here. Here, let me grab the camera. You can see the controller right here. And you can just pop that right off. Okay. So according to this PCB, it does look like it's made by CoStar, which is a good thing. Looks like Rosewill didn't cheap out and get another OEM. Okay, so basically you can get this Rosewill keyboard and it'll be just as good quality as a $160 Philco. And a lot of people before, they had problems with this little connector right here. It always comes loose, but I think this revision, it looks like they might have fixed that. The little green thing you see, looks like they super glued it down so it doesn't move as much. Okay, let's plug it into my laptop and see if it actually works. Here's the bottom, by the way. I'm not going to take the plate off because I have to desolder all these little connections and take off all the switch just to separate the plate from the PCB. So I'm not going to really do that right now. Okay. Nope, doesn't work. But there you go. All right. So it still works fine. So we're gonna close it up, and that's about it. Alright. So to close it up, it's pretty simple. You just pop the top back on and just snap down all the tabs and screw it back. Alright, there you go. The Rosewill mechanical keyboard.